Welcome everybody, namaste, and welcome Pam. Thanks for joining us today. So let's go through some poses today to help our flexibility in all different directions. We'll be moving the body forward, back, inversions, twists, so you feel vibrant. So let's begin with the Surya Namaskar to warm the body up, sun salutation. Remember, every pose is an offering. We do it because it has to be done. Let's do the Om together. Opening the eyes, bring the arms up, Hasta Uttanasana. Folding forward, Uttanasana. Big step back with the right leg, coming into a question pose. Left leg comes back into plank. Knees bowing down, coming through into cobra. Downward facing dog. Take a few moments just to stretch it out, bringing the head towards the mat. Right foot now between the hands, looking up where the wall meets the ceiling. Left meets right, Uttanasana. And coming up, Hasta Uttanasana. Hands to the center of the chest. Other side, coming up, the breath is by itself. Folding forward. Left leg comes back. Plank pose. Knees bowing down. Coming through into cobra. Downward facing dog. Left foot this time between the hands. Right meets left, Uttanasana. Come all the way up. Stretch. Hands to the center of the chest. Let's do one more on each round. Side coming up. Folding forward. Right leg comes back. Plank pose. You may do chaturanga or knees bowing down. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Right foot between the hands. Left meets right. Come all the way up. Hands to the center of the chest. Last one, coming up. Folding forward. Left leg back. Plank pose. Either chaturanga or knees bowing down. Cobra or upward facing. Open your heart. Downward facing dog. Left foot between the hands. Right meets left. Come all the way up. Hands to the center of the chest. All right, so let's begin the Shiva Namaskara. Smiling's good, let the body move by itself. Be playful. Arms come up. Folding forward. Uttanasana, so you may do any variation you like. You may grab your heels. You may bring your fingertips underneath the back of your heels. You can grab your elbows behind the calves. You can bring the arms over your head. Any variation. Just keep the chest, glute your thighs, no rounded backs. Fresh blood now flushing the brain. Hands are coming either side of your feet. You might either jump back or bring the legs back. Come into plank. Together, either knees bowing down, chaturanga, upward facing, or cobra. Everybody meeting in downward facing dog. Stay here for a few moments now, bringing the head towards the mat. Stretch it out. Now, left foot steps between the hands, coming into your warrior one. So the left knee over the left ankle, right foot at 45. You can either have the arms apart like me or bring the hands together in a prayer position like Pam. Offer the pose. For the next, the arms come back, toppling tree. Interlace the hands, take a little step forward, and slowly bring the chest down like a little cobra. Right leg goes up, point the toes so it looks pretty. Arms are coming over your head. Left hand down now underneath your left shoulder. Stack the hips. Maybe you can start to look up. If it's available, you may bring the arms straight up. If you're like Pam, you may grab the foot. Take more advanced variations. Otherwise, stay here like me. Gracefully now, bend the left knee, right leg falls back, falling into your warrior two. It's like a divine dance. Pull the attention down that middle finger on your left hand. Now for the next, turn your left foot to the right. We're going to fold backwards now. Bring the feet about mat distance width. Lift the hips. You may bend your knees, you may bring the hands to your back, your buttocks, or your thighs. Bring the head all the way back. If you're like Pam, you can grab your calves. Slowly come back up. Let's fall forward now. So the feet may be hip distance apart. You may grab the outside of your heels, bring your armpits to your knees. If you're comfortable here, you can bring your feet wider. And then look at Pam, bringing her head to the mat. So like me, you may bend the knees a little bit and as you bring the head down. No straining. If you're comfortable here, like Pam, then clasp your hands and see if you can bring them down towards the floor. Or just keep grabbing the outside of your feet. If you have the hands over your head, keep them clasped. Slowly come up. You're going to turn your left foot to the left, preparing for your humble warrior. If you're like me, clasp the hands, straighten the chest, bring the head back. Slowly bring the head down towards your left big toe. The left shoulder on the inside of that left knee and thigh. So if you're like me, stay here. If you can bring the head all the way down, go ahead. You can always bring this other arm down for balance. Now drop the right knee and bring your arms up, coming into your Kapiyasana. Offering the pose, may do a little wiggle. If you have a variation, you may bend your back knee, like Pam here. You may place it in the crevice of your elbow. You may bring the arm over, come into a nice bind. Otherwise, stay here like this. For the next now, break the pose. Left foot moves to the left side of the mat. Bring your hands down, preparing for your lizard pose. You may push into your right toes. Maybe open the hip a little bit and drop your tail. Maybe the right forearm, maybe the left. You can stay here. Remember, keep looking forward. If you're like Pam, start to bring the chest down towards the mat. So you're bringing your shoulder by your ankle. And then steady in the pose. And break the pose, come into plank. So options again now. You may come onto your knees or chaturanga. You may do upward facing or cobra. Everyone meeting in downward facing dog. Again, bringing the head down towards the mat, going a little bit deeper this time. Now, right foot steps between the hands, coming into warrior one. Right knee over that right ankle, left foot at 45. Remember, you can have the arms apart or together, offering the pose. Otherwise, it's just gymnastics. This is for you. Divine dance now. The arms come behind and coming into your toppling tree. Come forward. Bringing the arms over your head, little bit of a cobra, left foot gently pointed. Right hand comes down underneath your right shoulder to your half moon. Stack the hips. So maybe you're here like me. Maybe you can bring the left arm up, point that left toe. If you can bend that left knee, you can grab the foot like Pam. So variations for all types of bodies. Now bend the right knee, slowly step back into your warrior two. Right elbow comes onto your right thigh for your side angle pose. Beautiful straight line from your left fingertips to your left foot. Again, if you're feeling comfortable, bring the hand down on the inside of the foot. If you want to take the bind like Pam, go ahead. Otherwise, stay here like me. This is perfect. And break the pose. Hands come down. A little skip with your left knee this time. So we're going to twist to the right. Left arm comes up. Bring your left armpit down towards that knee and thigh. Maybe the right fist in your left palm or the palms together. And again, remember, you can't take the bind without helping that left arm underneath. Right arm comes back. If you can lift the back leg, go ahead. Steady in the pose now. And break the pose. Coming back up into your warrior two. Turn the right foot to the right. Bring the feet about hips distance apart, hands on the hips. So remember, you can be right the width of your mat. Lift the hips. Maybe you can fall back a little bit deeper this time. Remember, you can bend the knees. And breaking the pose, coming up, folding forward. Again, you may go a little bit deeper. So maybe bring the feet wider this time. Grab the outside of your feet. Bring the head down towards the mat. If you wish, you can clasp the hands. Start to bring them towards the floor behind you. So remember, you can bend the knees like me if you need. Break in the pose. Coming up, if you like Pam, you keep the arms in position. So preparing for your humble warrior. And fall forward. Bring the head towards that right big toe. See if you can bring the head onto the floor. Like a humble warrior offering the pose. This is for you. Now drop the left knee, bring the arms up, coming into your Kapiyasana. So adjusting as you need, offering the pose. You may take variations. So you may bend the back knee, bring the foot towards your buttocks. Maybe bring the foot inside your crevice of your elbow. And offer the pose. Otherwise, just stay here. And break the pose. Right foot moves to the right, hands are coming down on the inside of that right foot. Lizard pose, push into your left toes, rock back and forth. You can make lizard movements. And then drop the left leg. And then first of all, left forearm comes down, then the right. If you're comfortable, bring your armpit next to your leg and bring your chest onto the mat like Pam. Otherwise, stay like me, looking forward. Then everything stops. No thoughts, no worries, no expectations of what comes next. And break the pose, coming into our plank. So let's do the side plank next. So options, left hand can be the center of the mat. You can drop your left knee. Right foot can be flat. You may be here. You may stack the right foot on top of the left. Or if you want to go a little bit deeper, right foot behind, left foot at 45, push the hips up. And then maybe grab the knee, or if you're like Pam, you can grab the foot. Offer the pose. Left foot flat on the mat, pointing towards the corner of your mat. And gently break. Come back to the center. Pick your variation, right hand center of the mat. Maybe drop the right knee underneath your left hip. You may be here. You may be here. Or left foot behind, right foot pointing into the corner of the mat at 45. Push the foot into the floor. Maybe you just stay here. Maybe you can start to bring that left knee up. Grab the knee. Push the pelvis up. Or grab the foot like Pam. Staying here for half an hour. Smiling's good. And break. Come back to plank. Come onto your knees. Sit back into child's pose. Arms by the side, let everything normalize. Coming up. So now we're ready for the real poses. Let's do the headstand next. So Pam's going to demonstrate traditional headstand, hands like a little hat, her elbows shoulder distance apart. She's going to place the head between her hands. Gently lift her knees, push into her forearms, comes onto her toes. And then remember, she's got a nice, lovely line from her hips to her shoulders. And then she's going to split the legs. So she'll little kick, bend one knee, and see if she can find the balance. If you can do this, stay there. You may do a simple hair pose. Head by your knees. Lift the hips over your knees. Maybe stay here or stay here. But a nice one, the elephants, even a nice one you can do, that even elephants can do is like this one. Bring the head down, hands underneath the shoulders, come on onto your toes, bring the knees up, walk forward, one knee, second knee. Maybe stay here. And if you're comfortable, push up, split the legs. So any variation you like, of course you can use the wall. Otherwise, the hair pose, very nice. Get all the same benefits. And break the pose. Sit back on your heels, coming down gracefully, and relax. 2 long breaths. So we're going to have a little bit of fun today. So you may repeat what you did before. Otherwise, you're going to bring the hands like this and put the head between your wrists. So Pam's going to demonstrate. And you're going to gently come off your knees, push into your elbows, split the legs, one leg comes up. Now if you're comfortable here, you may bring one hand off the mat and see if you can rest on one forearm. Maybe on one finger. And if you're a real professional, maybe you can grab your foot. But not important. So either stay there or work on that for a few moments, even using the wall, or stay in the hair pose, traditional headstand, or with one arm. And everyone breaking the pose. Come down, rest in your child's pose. Now everyone break the pose, coming down gracefully. Everybody meeting in child's pose. Let everything normalize for a few breaths. Coming up. Now let's prepare for the mother of all poses, shoulder stand. So bring the legs out in front. Hands are by your side. You're going to gently roll back. You may bend your knees or keep them straight. Bring the hands to your lower back. Chin to chest. The knees may be in line with your hips. You may have the legs here. If it's comfortable, a straight line from your chin to your toes. If you have a lotus pose, full lotus only, go ahead. And the most important thing of all now, bring the attention to the space between your forebrow and visualize there a beautiful bright light. Nothing else exists at this moment but that beautiful bright light. Take on all the qualities of that light, the purity, the vibration. Body's moving by itself now. If you have the lotus, keep the lotus coming into embryo pose. Otherwise, bring the knees towards your forehead like me, coming into plow. Maybe one foot can touch, maybe the second. Maybe rolling onto the top of your shoulders. Maybe your knees can come down. Maybe you can clasp your hands over your calves or bring the hands onto the mat behind you. Everything stops now. Go within. All the attention on that beautiful bright light in the space between your forebrow. Become that bright light. For the next now, bring the hands onto the mat, index finger and thumb touching. If you have the lotus, you may keep your lotus. We're going to come into fish. Watch the body rolling onto your forearms and your hands. As the legs come down, lift the chest. And gently bring the top of the head onto the mat. If you have the full lotus, you may grab the feet if your chest is fully extended. And then everything stops, all the attention on that beautiful bright light. Right there in the space between your forearms. Pushing into your forearms, release the head. Lie back, relax for 2 long breaths. Imagine you're inhaling through every pore of your skin. Pull the energy through your spine all the way up to the crown. Exhale out all the fatigue. One more time. Deep inhale. Pull the energy all the way up to your crown. Exhale all the fatigue. For the next now, bend your knees, bring the feet hips distance apart. So you may do your bridge pose or upward facing bow. So if you're doing the bridge, you push into the forearms, lift the hips, roll onto the top of your shoulders like you did in your shoulder stand, and maybe stay here, or a support bridge. Otherwise, bring the hands like 2 cups by your ears, take a half inhale, lift the head, place it between your shoulders, turn the hands so the fingers are facing the other way, push up. If you're like Pam now, you can angle one foot and raise the other leg. And then switch. Or maybe bring one hand onto one thigh and then the other. Or just stay here like me. And everyone break the pose. If you're in the bridge or the upward facing bow, and bring the knees to your chest, gently massage your lower back. Now rocking back and forth like in a rocking chair. And rolling up to meet. Let's do a forward stretch first. So straighten your legs. If you need to, bend your knees. Pull the lower back in. Arms are coming up. Pull yourself long, glue the chest to your thigh. So maybe stay here like me if you need to. If you're like Pam, you can push the heels forward. Come to your comfortable limit. Keep the chest glued to the thighs. Let's do something special now. Follow the breath from the base of your spine. Inhale all the way up to the space between your foreback. Exhale back to the base of your spine. Again, inhale all the way up to the space between your foreback. Exhale back down to the base of your spine. Last one. Inhale from your base all the way up to the space between your foreback. Exhaling back. Bring the hands beyond your feet. Come up. Let's do a little counter stretch. Bring the hands facing behind. Bend your knees. Lift the hips for your bench pose. Head comes back. Breath of fire. And break. Coming down. Now bring your feet about mat distance apart. Let's do tortoise pose. So if you can, you bring your shoulders underneath the knees and your thighs, and you grab the outside of your feet like this. This may be enough for you. If you can, you start to move the heels forward, trying to get your shoulders below your knees, as you can see Pam here. If your shoulders are below your knees, then you can start to bring the arms to the side, coming into your tortoise pose. So you can either stay like this, or push the heels forward, and then slowly start to bring the arms out to the side. And then you bring your head down, or like Pam, you start to bring the chin down, maybe the chest. And just let everything stop for a few moments. Remember, this one is perfect, so you can stay here. Keep pulling your lower back in. Pull yourself forward. Maybe by Christmas you'll be all the way down. And break the pose. Coming up, bending your knees, release the arms. So for the next, let's work on our strength a little bit. So bend the knee, grab the foot, and see if you can place it underneath your arm. So it'll be easier to show this angle. So you place the arm onto your shoulder. It's like a rucksack or a bag. Bring the hands down either side. If you're comfortable here, see if you can raise your buttocks off the mat for 1 second. 1, 2, 3, go. For professionals, bring the foot over the ankle and then go to the side. And then see if you can come back up. And then release. Other side. So get your rucksack, place it on your shoulder. So remember, you may be just trying to lift your buttocks. This may be enough. So 1, 2, or Pam, all the way up. Wait for it. 1, 2, 3, go. And then again, you can trust the heels. See if you can come down. Come back up. And release. So you have to do that 40 times every day. Just joking. It's working on your flexibility. All right, so coming to the next. Coming up. Come into a squatting pose. So I'm going to go from behind. Pam's going to do it front. So you're in the squatting pose. And you're going to bring your left shoulder underneath your left knee and thigh. So your hand is here. And then you're going to grab the wrist, your right hand, straighten the right leg, and look up over the right shoulder. If you're comfortable here now, you can bring that right foot a little bit closer, push into that right foot, see if you can bring that leg up. And then try and straighten the spine, your bird of paradise. So you can stay here, or if you're like Pam, straighten the leg. She's the professional. But if you're like me, just keep working here. So you work on your strength. Keep pulling, pulling. Try and straighten that right leg. Find a place to focus and stay. Now release the leg. Left hand, grab the inside of your left heel. Come into your dance. And break the pose. Beautiful. Come back to your squatting. Let's do the other side. So right shoulder underneath that right knee and thigh. Grab the left wrist. See, so first of all, see if you can straighten that left leg. And then see if you can straighten both. Looking up over your left shoulder. If you wish, or if you'd like to, bring that other foot closer. See if you can raise the right leg this time. No rush. If you're like me, stay with the leg bent. If you're like Pam, straighten the leg. Eventually it comes into a standing split. And break the pose, coming down. Come back to squatting. Bring the hands down. Now bring your right leg across the mat like a right angle. Left leg comes behind. Grab your right foot with your left hand. Right arm, try and bring your right armpit to your right knee, folding forward. So you can see Pam here is nice and flexible. If you're like me, keep pulling that shoulder down towards that left foot. And break the pose. Switching legs. Left leg comes across the mat. So remember, grab that left foot with your right hand if you need. Straighten that right leg. And come to your comfortable limit. Left arm comes down, try and bring the armpit to that left knee. And then everything stops. Go within. And break the pose coming up. Now bring the legs in front of you. So now we're ready to bring the leg behind our head. So you may keep the left knee bent. You can roll back and just do an ankle grasp and just stay here. If you feel ready, you can bring this knee down to your right armpit. If you feel ready to go a little bit more, bend that left knee. You can even bring it up towards your chest and bring the shoulder behind the arm like this. This left foot can support you here. If you're ready, you can bring the leg behind your head. Remember, it's always easier with this knee a little bit further forward. So you have options here. If it's too much, like Pam's lying back here, she's got a knee nice and bent, you can always stay here like this. Bringing the attention to that beautiful bright light in the space between your forebrow. And then all thoughts stop. You forget all your problems. Gracefully break the pose now. Release the leg. You may bring the knees to your chest just to massage your back a little bit. Again, you may bend the left knee, bring the foot onto the mat. You may do the ankle grasp with the left leg. You may bring the knee down to your armpit. You may bring the leg behind your shoulder. And if you're ready, bring the leg behind your head. Not important. And if you wish, you can bring both legs behind your head. Remember, just do what's comfortable for your body. So the ankle grasp was perfect. All the attention on that beautiful bright light. Nothing else exists at this moment. Become that bright light. And break the pose. Again, bring the knees to your chest once you've broken the pose. Massage your lower back. Rocking back and forth. And coming up to a sitting position, come onto your abdomen. So let's bend the other way now. So, cobra pose. You can have the hands underneath your armpits, or you can grab the corners of your mat. Slowly come up, one vertebra at a time. Find the comfortable position, all the attention on that beautiful bright light, and then leave the body by itself. Break the pose, coming down one vertebra at a time. Hands a nice little pillow, one palm on top of the other, rest the forehead. Let's do Dhanurasana today, bow pose. So bend the knees, grab just above your ankles. Rest on your forehead. Take a half inhale, kick the legs up. Smiling's good, you can rock back and forth. If you're like Pam, you can come up onto your thighs. Any variation you like. It's an amazing pose. Good for hunchbacks. It's good for your kidneys, massages your internal organs. Now bring the thighs down, bring the hands underneath your armpits, push up for one more cobra. You should be able to go a little bit deeper now. If you're like Pam, you can come into King Cobra if you will. Just bring the knees wide. And break the pose. Push back into a child's pose this time. You may massage either side of your back. Coming up onto our knees. So let's do a rabbit pose, a rabbit stretch first. So bring the knees about mat distance width. You can bring the feet closer together like a rabbit on your toes. Bring one hand back onto one heel, then the second. See if you can interlace your little finger, then push the hips forward. Bring the head back. And bring one hand back, then the second. Now come onto your back again. Last one, the Urdhva Dhanurasana. So again, you may do the bridge pose. So you may lift the hips, maybe go a little bit deeper now, the body should be wide open. Maybe you can grab your heels, maybe interlace your hands, maybe the hands are underneath your hips. Or if you're ready, go into your upward facing bow. So you can bring your head between your shoulders, hands come down, push up. If you're like Pam, you can come down onto your forearms if you wish. And push up from there. Otherwise, stay here like me. Smiling's good. And break the pose, coming down. Bring the knees to your chest. Gently massage your lower back. Now bring the feet by your buttocks. Hands by your side. Lift the hips, scoot them to the right. Bring your knees down to the left. Left knee and thigh resting on the right. Your arms can be like a letter T. And then turn your head to the right. Beautiful reclined spinal twist. And switch sides. Come back to the center. Lift the hips, scoot them to the left. Knees come down to the right, left knee and thigh resting on the right, looking over your left shoulder if it's comfortable. Then everything stops. Remember that beautiful bright light, space between your forebrow. Come back to the center. Now, clasp your hands. Bring your head up. Legs off the mat. We're going to let everything go. Make a big scream. And relax. Switch everything off. Imagine you fainted now. Everything stops. It's like your body's been put to sleep with an anesthesia. It's melting into the mat. Heavy, gentle, loose. Slowly find your way coming back to a sitting position. No rush. Preparing for the final Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be receptive and be compassionate to all beings. Thank you for your beautiful practice.